Hello and welcome back. Today is Tuesday the 15th of December 2020, year of the plague, and I'm wearing my festive getup and my festive hat, and apparently one of my baubles has just come off, so you know how it is. Normally you got to pay the NHS for that kind of an op, and they normally put you on a waiting list for a little while, but you know, it's totally worth doing. But yeah, that's totally fun. I'll see how long I can keep this up before I annoy myself or my arm gets tired. Anywho, there's not much to report, really. There is, but not much that I can talk about. We've been busy, as always. I have got a couple of projects that I'm busy working on at the moment. And, oh, there you go. I didn't get tired, I'm sure someone will probably get bored of this shit. Probably me. If you like horror, and you like horror stories, and you want something completely different, like out of your ordinary thing, check out, it's called the Pilo Family Circus. I'm trying to remember the name of the gentleman who wrote it. I've read it a couple of times, it's phenomenal. The sequel, unfortunately, doesn't hold up with the original, but the first book is phenomenal. It's an Australian horror tale about a guy who gets press ganged into the circus, where there are evil clowns with supernatural powers, and it's just a really fun, different kind of movie. Did I say movie? Everything feels like movies at the moment. Right, coffee. So the guy finds himself crossed over in a difficult situation, press ganged into the circus by some evil clowns, and shenanigans and hilarity and bloodshed ensue. It's really, really good. I'll put the details in the doobly-doo, but yeah, fucking just reminded me of that. It's really, really fun. And I'm gonna get rid of this hat because it makes me itch, and I might have been bald for years, but I hate hats. Hate them. They suck. It really does suck. Anyway, funny thing is the hair grows everywhere but where it's supposed to, and the only place I'd like it to grow is on my head, which would be nice, but at this point I've been bald longer than I had hair, so this is who I am. It's a whole weird thing, but I guess the short of it is I'd really like it if the hair stopped growing down my back. Second puberty, kids, second puberty. It's coming for you. So laugh at the guys like me with their hair growing out of their ears and their nose and everywhere else while you can. Like, laugh it up, have a good joke, because it is coming for you. Make no fucking mistake about it. You will have the hair, it will grow in funny places for a second time, and they're not the funny places they were when you were growing hair the first time when the hair was growing in funny places. It's coming. Don't worry. So, yeah, that concludes this episode of Life Tips that nobody asked for. I have been spending the last couple of days, Pip and I took some time out again. I'm prepping for a thing that I can't talk about, but it's going well. It's slow going, but I'm putting my head down and getting on with it. I'm going to grab my notebook, because that seems to be the smartest way to do these things. So, in our first year together, Pip gave me this, my uninspired journal. I think that should eventually a little autofocus. There we go. That's it. It's completely benign and weird, and it's full of weird stuff like "just give up already" and other such encouraging things. Literally can't even. And I've kind of not used it, because I didn't really know what to use the book for. And recently I've been doing a little bit of journaling to try and get my brain back in sync with itself. And as I've been doing that, I've been writing up lists for stories and collections and the other stuff that I'm busy working on presently. And I'm looking at this instead of looking at you. I apologize. So I'm busy throwing together a short story collection, which will be collected works over the last 5 years or so. It's going to have introductions, there'll be some illustrations, some other art pages, and that kind of thing. I haven't settled on a title yet, but it should be on its way out. I'm thinking about midway through next year, should be about it. I'm plugging my way through the edit on Pumpkin Guts. those are feeling a lot less like a massive deal. I've got a folklore collection that I've been adding to over the last however many years, and I'm slowly kind of chipping away everything that isn't the collection. And it also serves, I am not quite sure, and this is a little kind of under the hood for you. Initially it was conceived as a collection of canon folk stories which happen in this world that Pumpkin Guts exists in. And there are some background things on stuff, but it's to be read as a folklore collection, like things that aren't actually folklore. They're made up, but they feel like they're true. And so as part of my kind of research for that, I've been reading up a lot of the Grimm's tales. I think I've been listening to, I always get his name wrong, I think it's Philip Pullman, but I guarantee you I've probably just mentioned the actor instead of the writer. Was it Bill Pullman? God damn it, this is crazy. In fact, you know what? I owe you better. I'm going to just have a look and I'll check it while I'm talking to you right now. In addition to that, we've got the folklore collection, which is going to be fantastic. I'm super excited. It's lots of little things like newspaper clippings and backup stories. They all kind of thread together quite nicely. And it's just giving me... I absolutely live for folklore. There was a really early in my writer's kind of education, and when I say my writer's education, I mean like formally writing stories, not I went to college and learned shit, because I didn't. I wrote some stuff at school, enjoyed it, but I've always been kind of like primarily music. That was what I was doing. I was convinced I was going to be a fucking rock star, and that was what I was doing. So if you probably can't see it from here, but down there, like just below the camera line, are stacks and stacks and stacks of A4 notebooks of angsty teenage poetry and sketches and bloodshed and I hate my life and I want everyone to die. That kind of, that really angsty shit that no one really appreciates. But it served to get me out of myself and out into the world, and to help me deal with things that were a lot less approachable with a young mind. I'm finding that book quickly. And so about 5 years ago, be 6 in a minute, I woke up one day and realized that I've been writing my whole fucking life, and I hadn't actually realized it, because there are, of course, little short stories. There's kind of tedious poetry, and there's all kinds of awful stuff in those. And my major influence... Come on, where are you? Grimm. There we go. I apologize if this plays. No, it doesn't. Thank you. It was Philip Pullman. I was completely right. It's called Grimm Tales for Young... Philip Pullman, Grimm Tales for Young and something readers. Will not load up. Weird. Anywho, it doesn't matter. I've said it. So, to get back to the notebooks, a big part of it was dealing, like I said. But the next kind of natural progression from that was me suddenly waking up one day, and I discovered NaNoWriMo, which to the uninitiated is National Novel Writing Month. And yes, it's difficult to say, and it took me months to be able to remember that in sequence. Basically, the guts of it is, in November every year, people get together all around the world, and sometimes in person, they'll meet at cafes, they'll do write-ins, all that kind of stuff. But basically, the agreement is that you're going to write 50,000 words, or the equivalent of a short novel, in a month. So it comes in at about 1,600 words a day, and you make lots of friends. It's fantastic. If you want to get to writing, it's a freaking good way to start off. I would recommend over NaNoWriMo, which is in November, and it's the official kind of... You feel more alone during it because of just the nature of you can meet people on Twitter, you can hang out on Facebook, whatever it is, and you meet a lot of cool people on the NaNoWriMo hashtag, and you'll have writing sprints with people all over the world. It's really, really cool. But like I said, I think they run it 3 times throughout the year. They do a Camp NaNoWriMo, which I think is in April. Then there's another one in July. And the camps are pretty damn cool, because what you get is when you sign up, you get the option to start your own cabin. So if you've got a couple of friends or you want to meet some internet people, you start your own cabin and they will populate it with other people, or you get them to designate your cabin, and you can make some really cool friends in these cabin situations. You might not get as much writing done as you like, because you end up talking crap in the cabin and in the interior of the cabin, and the chat window just gets ridiculous. But it opens you up to the world of writing and what it is. But the reason I got into I got into writing. I woke up one day, I discovered NaNoWriMo. I was maybe 9 months away from it, so I did a little bit of prep, and I said, okay, well, I want to do this. This is something I want to kind of try out. And then I bought a couple of short notebooks, and I hand wrote my first kind of like trunk novel, which I will not talk about until there's something to talk about. But it was about 200,000 words, and it took me about 3 months to get it down. I wrote every day. I started the process. I was handwriting it to begin, and then I got typing when I kind of sort of realized like what this was going to entail long term and how I needed to get my typing up to speed. So once I did that, then I did my first NaNoWriMo, which was a camp, and I won. Which one is is hypothetical at best. Basically, you hit your target for the month, and I managed to crack. It was 50,000 words, and that was where Pumpkin Guts came in. So I wrote each one of these 5 stories was originally supposed to be 10,000 words, contained little short novella style things. And I figured at the end of this project, I'd have 5 stories that I could submit to different places, and I'd know what I was doing more or less on how to edit, how to cut, how to write a book, I'd be that much more prepared. Didn't work out that way. So all of these books, because they are books now, none of them have been released because I'm still learning. But the guts of it was that I birthed these 5 things, had this extended kind of universe planned in a hypothetical way. It wasn't wow, I need to kind of establish a universe, then I need to have a crossover, then I need to do this thing and that thing and the next thing. It was the equivalent of what Trick or Treat is as a film. It was an anthology format where the characters kind of cross over into each other's stories, and them crossing over is not the focus. It's just a nice little Easter egg to anybody who's read the previous story or read another story. So self-contained, one and done stories, character, thing happens, and then other characters kind of cross over, and there's all fun and shenanigans, and it was supposed to be pulpy and gory and all the stuff that I personally love about horror and monsters and bloodshed and topless birds and bottomless guys and just everything. Supposed to be fun, and that's what I've achieved mostly, I think. So the lead up to all of this, god damn, I can go off on a tangent, is I woke up one day and suddenly realized that I'd been writing my whole life, and then asked myself this question: why don't I do it on purpose then? And that is what's spun me on throughout the rest of everything. And that's what's put me forward into the life that I have now, and where Pip and I just live our lives surrounded by horror stuff. If I turn this camera around, there's a skeleton in a Santa suit. We got pumpkins everywhere around us. The stuff behind me is the stuff that's always behind me, It's minus the Christmas tree, because that would be creepy. And it has allowed me to become the most me that I've ever been in my life, which is a super wonderful, validating feeling to know that I'm not hiding any part of myself. And if I could have one wish for you watching this, whoever you are, that you could find peace with who you are and what you are. And not, oh, look at me, I got peace, you know, like, oh, look, you know, kind of the... I'm trying to think of a good way to frame this. So if you have... like, the clothes you wear are one part for you, for kind of like how you feel about yourself, and I like this. And then there's this other part where you are choosing the way that you want the world to perceive you. So if you have a t-shirt with "fuck you, suck a dick" on across the top, you're not really wearing it because you're trying to ingratiate yourself to people. It's because you're trying to ruffle feathers, or because you're trying to make a statement. And sure, that does have its place, and I'm not saying it doesn't, but there's a difference between doing something because it's what makes you personally happy, and then doing something because you need other people to notice you. And those are two very, very different worlds. All the stuff that I do here, whether I talked to people about it on the internet like I'm talking to you now or not, this would be how my setup was. And whether there were cell phones and Instagram and online and all the other stuff or not, this would be what my universe looked like, you know. And that's the core of it. It's like, I don't need you to know what I do in order for me to do it and enjoy it. I do it because I enjoy it. I played video games when I was a kid, and I did it because I liked it. It wasn't... This is something that I don't fully understand about kind of contemporary stuff. Pip is completely the opposite, however. Like, she loves kind of online gaming and talking to other people and stuff. Like, I cannot. I don't want to. I play games to play games, to get away, to be in this kind of little world. It's like reading with a third element, you know. It's immersive story, and that's the truth. And it's lovely to share this with people on the internet, but the sharing of it, although it adds to my enjoyment of stuff, being able to have real conversations about things, that's always wonderful. But for the longest time, that has not been possible for us oldie people. God, vintage. There was a day once upon a time, children, young'uns, babelings, bands, when there weren't other people that you could find on the internet who liked the stuff you liked. You were just the freak in the corner who was drawing weird shit in a notebook, and that was who you were, and that was who I was, and that's who I still am, and I've got all the notebooks to prove it. So, to get back to it, find yourself, do it for you. Don't do it to make your partner happy. Don't do it because your parents will maybe be proud of you if you achieve a thing, if you do whatever it is. Do it because you are important, and because this is your one life that you get, and because this one thing makes you happy. That is the most important thing I can leave you with. And speaking about anything else seems completely oblivious at this point. So, I'm going to bid you the best of the season. As always, I'm Mike Pilgrim. If you want to find me or my stuff, or if you want to even pick up this crazy book that me and my wonderful wife wrote, God, it's 2 years ago now. It's a little Christmas collection called Bloody Stockings. It's all kinds of terrible shit. Bad stories. There's a lot of semen. There's generally a lot of semen and a lot of bloodshed. It's all in bad taste, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. I think there is a 12 Days of Christmas parody, one of which is five tight cock rings. I think Pip wrote one about an incontinent Elvis impersonator. There is all kinds. There's a sadistic reindeer. There is a gargoyle who yes, that was it. There's a gargoyle who picks people off the street because he can only move for a few moments at midnight on Christmas Eve. It's all kinds of wacky and wonderful shit, little flash pieces. Totally fun, totally worth the time. And Jesus, this is the biggest sales pitch I've ever made for a book or for anything. Jesus. Right. But anyway, if you want it, it's in the link. You can check it out. It's available pretty much everywhere. You can get it in paperback or ebook or whatever. If you would like something free, however, at this moment, you can check out Pip's brand spanking new story. I can't think of the title off the top of my head, but it is on the Sinister Horror Company's advent calendar. It is day 15. I will put the link in down below so you can check that out. It's a wonderful little story about a girl and her mum in a woman's refuge at Christmas time, and shit goes down as if it hadn't already to get them to that point. Poor girls. God, what else? Speaking of the notebooks, if you are interested, Pip and I both have our entire kind of like notebook library, or at least the majority of it presently. We're always adding to it. Available on our Patreons. So if on our Patreon account for Pugnacious Press, I'll put the link in the doobly-doo. For basically as little as $1 a quid, the lowest level, you get access to all of our notebooks, and you get a couple of free books, e-copies of probably that one. I think is on there. It's definitely on there for I think it's the second tier. So if you want to go that direction, links are in the bottom. There's some weird thing about searching and stuff and weird and things. But yeah, I'm going to get back to it. I got some planning to do. I'm experimenting with dictation at the moment, which is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I think it's going to work out really, really well for me because my pudgy paws just don't move the way everybody else's. I gotta chew and grind my teeth to get the words out. But anyway, all the links for everything are in the doobly-doo. Thank you very much for spending this time with me. If you want to hang out, you can find me on Twitter at Mike Pilgrim. That's MYK Pilgrim. The same on Facebook. That's / Mike Pilgrim. And Instagram is Mike Pilgrim Author. Links all down below, whatever. Links to books, the works, and you take care of yourselves. Have a good week, month, year, whatever. Stay safe, wear a mask, and I'll see you next time.